Hello everyone and welcome back to Phaedra, the channel. India has been one of Asia's major naval forces, with one big carrier in service and another in the works. Despite severe economic problems, India treated the avocation sector with great respect following independence. India, unlike several other countries, prioritizes aircraft carriers above submarines. The Indian Navy's INS Vikrant R-11, a spectacular light carrier that served from 1961 to 1997, successfully engaged in the 1971 conflict. Likewise, the Indian Navy's INS Viraat, previously the British Royal Navy's Centaur-class carrier HMS Hermes, entered the Indian Navy in 1987 and remained till 2016. INS, according to the official, the world's longest-serving warship, Viraat has landed off the coast of Alang, in Gujarat for destruction after the Indian Navy decommissioned her 3 years ago. The aircraft's final trip started on Saturday, September 19, 2020. At the Naval Dockyard in Mumbai and ended on Monday evening in the seas of Alang in the Bhavnagar district, 21st of September 2020. It will be disassembled and auctioned as junk at the shipbreaking yard in Alang. History: INS Viraat was the Indian Navy's centerpiece before INS Vikramaditya was commissioned in 2013. The ship served in the Royal Navy from 1959 until 1987 when it was decommissioned and leased to the Indian Navy. The INS Viraat conducted her final voyage from Mumbai to Kochi on July 23, 2016, before retirement. She was indeed the world's longest-serving aircraft carrier. The INS Viraat aircraft carrier was formally bid farewell to the ocean after 57 lengths of experience both in Royal Navy and the Indian Navy. After that, the ship was hauled to a dry dock, where the guns and gear were removed. This aircraft carrier has spent the equivalent of 2,250 days at sea and completed 27 orbits all around Earth throughout her service days. Design: to handle the Sea Harrier, the INS Viraat had a 12-degree ski jump, a straightened flight deck, and 1.2 inches (3 centimeters) of armor all over the tanks and machinery compartments. At least 80 light missiles were stored in the magazine. The vessel's AFT portion carried 4 LCVP landing craft and had commando transport capabilities for up to 750 men. The ship could carry up to 26 combat aircraft in a wartime situation and was well suited to assisting amphibious assaults and executing ASW operations. Capacity: the vessel's AFT portion carried 4 LCVP landing craft and had commando transport capabilities for up to 750 men. The ship could carry up to 26 combat aircraft in a wartime situation, and was well suited to assisting amphibious assaults and executing anti-submarine combat missions. The Sea Harriers have been the primary strike aircraft, carrying a variety of contemporary missiles like the British anti-ship Sea Eagle missile and the French Matre magic air-to-air missile. 68mm missiles, runway denial bombs, group bombs, and a Shell 30mm gun were among the various weapons carried by this aircraft. In 2006, the Indian Navy began the Limited Upgrade Sea Harrier program, which involved the installation of the ELTA ELM 2032 radar and the Rafael Derby medium-range air-to-air BVR missile aboard up to 15 Sea Harriers in conjunction with Israel. Kamov Ka-31 Helix B airborne device warning planes and Kamov Ka-28 Helix A helicopters were also part of the fleet. Local helicopters, Kal Chedak and HAL Derv, were also present. Propulsion: 2 persons fixed steam turbines with 4 burners provided 76,000 shaft horsepower to the INS Viraat's propulsion system. The ship's top speed is 28 knots, and it has a reach of 6,500 nautical miles. Self-defense: the ship has 2mm Bofors anti-aircraft guns, 16 Barak anti-aircraft missile solid rocket cells, and 2 twin AK-230 nearer weapon systems for self-defense. Electronic warfare: electronic warfare is a type of warfare that uses electronic BEL Agenta electronic support policies and 2 Nebworth Corvus chaff collectors which were used for electronic warfare and decoys. Decommissioning of the INS Viraat: The Navy stated in early 2015 that Viraat will be decommissioned because of rising operational expenses and age. Moreover, the Navy's attempts to conserve the carrier, whether by transforming it into a monument or by other methods, failed. There were intentions and even some actions done by the state and local governments of Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh in order to preserve the historic ship and transform it into a museum. There were additional unsuccessful crowdfunding initiatives aimed at the same purpose. Nevertheless, after failing to get a solid preservation option, the center opted to auction the ship for breaking and scrapping. Future of Indian Navy. Despite its high cost and lack of serviceability, the INS Viraat has given the Indian Navy important expertise, and India is now looking to expand its naval aviation capabilities. India is building a new 40,000-ton aircraft carrier, the INS Vikrant, instead of settling at just one. The ship has been under construction since 2009 at India's Cochin shipyard and is expected to be completed in early 2021 with a unit of contemporary MiG-29K fighters comparable to the INS Vikramaditya. The South Asian country also wants to construct a third aircraft carrier, the INS Vishal, with a capacity of 65,000 tons and a Kato-bar system. Although some argue that aircraft carriers are costly, cumbersome weapons that are vulnerable to hacking and have grown obsolete in the age of long-range precision-guided weapons, others argue that they're still necessary. The Sea Queen's appeal, on the other hand, has not waned. India continues to demonstrate its will to become a naval force. Things to notice. Since 2017, India has been operating a singular carrier, the INS Vikramaditya, rather than the relatively minimal requirements of two amphibious assault ships. These are ship and submarine formations in which aircraft carriers take the lead. If we look at the displacement, we can see that India's first homegrown aircraft carrier, IAC-1 INS Vikrant, which has a displacement similar to Vikramaditya, is now under construction at Kochi shipyard and is scheduled to go through sea trials shortly. The Navy's Maritime Capability Perspective Plan considers 3 cruisers in total, with one of them undergoing refurbishment.